Welcome back to Things You Don't Know, where history hums, vibrates, and occasionally curls up in your lap. I'm Dr. William Weaver, joined as always by my cool cat co-hosts, Dr. Deneen and Chandler.
Today's episode, Dr. Weaver, is one of mystery, frequency, and feline philosophy.
Yes, it is. And I am here to press play on a story that begins not in the lab, but in the living room with a sound so familiar, so comforting that it's been vibrating through human hearts for nearly 10,000 years. Today, we're talking about the cat's purr, that low thrumming motor that's part love song, part secret code.
You mentioned 10,000 years, Chandler.
Yes.
And, one of the things that is different about cats versus dogs or other domesticated animals is that cats really aren't domesticated in the same sense. We humans did not choose to domesticate cats. Cats chose us to befriend, which is so different. But long before any so-called domestication, wildcats purred to their mothers. Scientists believe purring began as a survival cue, a way for kittens and their mothers to say, I'm alive, I'm okay. And it didn't attract predators. No crying, no meowing, just a quiet pulse in the chest.
And that pulse, ladies and gentlemen, surprisingly, it's not breath or heartbeat, it's neurological. The brain sends repetitive signals to the laryngeal muscles, opening and closing the glottis 25 to 150 times per second. The result is a vibration that resonates through bone and fur.
That is so important, Dr. Deneen, when we talk about sounds that a human makes. Okay, I am breathing, I am it's going through my vocal cords, etc. It's not really neurological. And what you said is just so critically important. Wouldn't you agree, Chandler?
I would agree with that very much. And that also means that when your cat's purring on your lap, oh, you're not just hearing a sound, you're feeling a small biological engine fine-tuned over millennia.
Ancient Egyptians called cats meow, imitating the meow of English.
Meow.
But purr, that was good, Chandler. Do that again.
Yeah. Meow.
There
Meow.
you go. Yeah, you sure you're not part cat? Um,
Might be.
but the purr, that was divine. Statues of Bastet, the cat goddess, and that's pretty familiar the thing for most people who know anything about ancient Egypt. They were carved with smooth throats, which is the seat of that sacred hum.
You mentioned ancient Egypt, Dr. Weaver. My beloved sister went to Egypt about 12 years ago, and that's where we got the name for our Burmese cat, Isis. She's really one of a kind creature. But it's not just domesticated cats that purr. Bobcats, cheetahs, pumas, they all purr. Lions and tigers, not quite so much. Their throats are built for roaring, not resonating.
So, in other words, their throats were built to go to war, not keep the
That
peace.
you're quite
Brr.
correct, Chandler.
Well, let's talk about the language of the purr now. Now, here's where it gets very fascinating. Now, cats don't just have one purr, they have a vocabulary, each tone carrying its own emotional code.
Let's start with the contentment purr, the one that we probably know best. Slow, steady, rhythmic. You'll hear it when your cat's curled on your lap or Baking biscuits on a blanket. You know what I mean by that, right? They do that little
Mm.
pawing thing, Yeah. Some people say that that relates to kittens massaging their mother's teats so that they could get better milk.
Yeah, I've always heard that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it is, but I also kind of feel like many times that thing, if you look at what a physician does when they're examining your body, it's called palpating. Okay. And I really feel like sometimes they're palpating, especially when they're doing it on their human. But that contentment purr that I'm referring to, that's the I trust you purr. Pure peace, pure presence.
Then there's solicitation purr. It kind of sounds like this. Meow. Faster, higher, and sometimes with a faint cry embedded inside. Studies show it mimics the frequency of a human baby's wail. Adult cats do not meow to each other. They only meow to their mothers or to humans. So cats use this particular purr to say, feed me, love me, notice me. And
Yeah, it's what I like to call the guilt trip purr. You think you're being affectionate, but really, you're being played.
And then the paradox, cats also purr when they are in pain, after surgery at the vet, or even during labor. It's not a contradiction, it's survival.
because of the vibration of the purr, especially around 26 hertz, it can be a healing source. It promotes tissue regeneration, reduces swelling, and strengthens bone density. In other words, the cat's purr can literally help it and others to heal.
When we were talking about doing this podcast, my cherished co hosts had heard a story about my cat, Midnight.
Yeah.
And just briefly, he adopted me when I was an infant. I didn't adopt him. He just said, "Hey, that's my baby." But when I broke my arm, and it was a compound fracture, so the bone was sticking out through the skin, it's pretty nasty. They put it in a cast, and when I was back home, Midnight would get on that cast and he would sort of put his legs around it and he would just purr and purr and purr and purr. And usually that kind of a fracture takes quite a while to heal. We're talking, maybe 8 weeks, so a while. My bone healed in a little over 4 weeks. And when I went in to see the physician, he said, "What did you do?" And I said, "Oh, did I do something wrong?" And he said, "No." He said, "This is amazing. You must just heal really quickly." And then I told him about my cat Midnight doing it, and he said, "You know, medical science recognizes that that happens. We don't know how and why exactly, but it does seem to enhance healing." Isn't that interesting?
I think that's very interesting. You talk about some self-care powered by some sound. Boy, just imagine if humans could hum themselves better after a long day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just be wonderful?
Oh,
Yes, it would.
oh, you got it. Yeah. When we talk about frequencies between 25 and 150 hertz, we're in the sweet spot of mechanical therapy. Those same frequencies are used in physical rehabilitation to stimulate muscle and bone recovery. Cat figured it out a long time before we did.
I can vouch for that. I had physical therapy for years, and my dear friend, Dr. Andrew Kramer, who we did a podcast on, when he was putting a TENS unit to electrically stimulate my ankle, he would also sometimes put on the music of cats meowing. And I thought at one time, Well, he just must enjoy that sound. And he said, no, that will get your mind into a better framework for healing.
And Dr. Deneen, when you're talking about that, this goes back thousands and thousands of years, because what they have discovered is that in prayer rooms, in ancient Christian churches, and certainly in Buddhist temples, etc., they usually have columns. And what they discovered is that if you tap those columns, it emits a frequency which is transmitted to the other columns too pretty quickly, which is in that range, the 25 to 150 hertz. And it has been proven, because they've done studies on this, that that actually does truly affect the human brain and truly affect recovery from a lot of things, and puts the human mind in a more creative and a receptive modality. I think that's fascinating, don't
It,
you?
it sure is.
I think that's very fascinating.
And because cats purr on both the inhale and their exhale, that's twice the vibration, twice the efficiency. Think of it as a natural ultrasonic massage.
And if you've ever noticed your cat purring while pressed against you, that's no coincidence. Not at all. Cats may be sharing the healing they purr for themselves and sometimes for you.
In hospitals, therapy cats have been shown to lower heart rates, reduce anxiety, and comfort dementia patients who no longer respond to speech. The cat's purr bypasses words and goes straight to the nervous system.
Its vibration is empathy, ladies and gentlemen, a resonant bridge between species.
Okay, but let's step out of the lab for a minute. You want to?
Sure,
Yep.
let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Beyond science, the purr has always symbolized something much deeper.
In folklore, a cat's purr represented protection, a shield against storms, spirits, and loneliness. Sailors once kept cats aboard, not just for mice, but for luck. They believed a purring cat kept the sea calm.
One of those instinctive things that you can't prove, but in your gut makes sense. In literature, cats have been comfort and contradiction. T.S. Eliot's cats, the famous play was written about, purred between wisdom and mischief. Poe's cats purred before the uncanny. It's the sound of serenity and suspense all at once.
And maybe that is why we love it. The purr says, everything's okay, even when life isn't. It's both a lullaby and a lie, and we don't mind believing it.
I sure don't.
Me either.
Absolutely.
Some cultures even interpret different purrs as emotional frequencies of the soul. Low, steady purr symbolizes contentment and trust. Fast, high purr, a desire or longing. Rough, uneven purr, pain, resilience, endurance. Shared purrs, unity, healing, belonging.
It's an entire emotional lexicon that doesn't need translation.
We purr too in our own ways. Humming, chanting, sighing, singing. Every culture has some form of rhythmic vocal comfort. Our ancestors knew what cats still practice vibration as medicine.
I mentioned before the columns in prayer rooms and meditation rooms, and evidence that suggests that what pitch is that, Chandler?
That is an F sharp.
Okay, and how many hertz?
Now that I don't know.
It's right in that same range, big guy.
Oh, right in the
Okay,
exact same range of the cat purr.
yeah, that is the traditional thing, and
Hmm.
it causes those columns to vibrate too. So you get a double thing. So when you hear people talk about the thing, don't dismiss it so quickly because it really can matter. So, and when you think about it, the purr is the sound of being, not doing, not striving, just existing, a reminder that quiet can be powerful.
It certainly can. I think that might be why so many cat owners describe their pets as emotionally grounding. The purr is a frequency of mindfulness, a living metronome of calm.
Well, next time your cat curls up beside you and starts that little engine, think of it this way. You're hearing the echo of ancient forests, of evolution's hum, and a creature that decided long ago that peace could be shared through sound.
Today, scientists continue to study purring for its medical potential. Imagine sonic therapies inspired by the cat, machines calibrated to feline frequencies to heal fractures or reduce stress. And I can just vouch for that.
In a way, the cat might be the oldest sound therapist on this earth.
And unlike technology, you don't have to plug it in, you just have to listen.
Because sometimes the most extraordinary inventions aren't mechanical at all. They're biological symphonies hidden in plain sight.
And the next time you hear that gentle vibration, ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's not just noise. It's a message, one that says, I'm here, I'm alive, and all is well. Just very briefly, the Persians consider cats to be spiritual messengers, angels, if you like. And they say it's up to your cat whether you get to paradise or not. So I sure hope Isis will put in a good word for me.
Well, I think he might be able to do something, put in a good word with you with the Persians.
I'll try to remember that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you know what? These sounds, these purrs, are definitely worth recording.
Well, look, I could talk about this for a long time. I'm a cat person, if you didn't guess. But we need to stop sometime, so I guess this is a good place. So for things you don't know, I'm Dr. William Weaver.
I'm Dr. Sean Deneen. Please leave us a like and a comment, folks.
And I am Chandler Foster, reminding you sometimes the smallest sound tells the biggest story.